create a story map is to create it directly from a template. And so to create a story map from a template, you can go to this website here, storymaps-classic.arcgis.com. And from here, you can click on create a story. And it's going to give you a few different templates that you can choose from. I really like the map journal or the map series, so I'm going to use the map journal template. You can also from here look at an example. So like for instance, if I want to take a look at an example, a live example of a map journal presentation, just to see how it would flow before I make my final decision, it allows you to do that. And so you can kind of scroll through this example, and so like I can really envision there being like a introduction to Chinatown, and maybe there's an image here in Chinatown, there's a border around Chinatown here, and maybe as we're seeing different murals, a point on the map is dictating where we can find these murals in Chinatown. I think would be a really great enhancement to your current story map as well. And so as you go through these sections, the map for this particular project, it's like, it's not one area. I really like to, as you go from one section to the next, you're looking at the same map. And so just layers of the map is changing on the right. But anyway, so that's an example of what it would look like. And so you can choose to have a floating panel, or the panel is fixed and it stays on the side. I like I just personal preference. I like the panel on the side. But if I wanted to change, just click here and the little dot moves over. So I choose panel on the side, and click start. And here, you'd name your project. So I forget, Chinatown. I'm just going to make something up because I don't have your story map open anymore. And then begin the process of creating your main stage and your side panels. And so your main stage is really where you put your map. So here's where you would go and either select a map or you can create a map. And so before I go any further, I just want to show you an example of a process that I do. So I really like to have all of my presentation laid out in a like outline format, and I also outline what maps and what I'm going to say for each section of my presentation, right? And then I create a web map that has all of my layers, all of it for my entire project, all of my layers in one map. So here's an example of a map that I did for the University of Chicago, and we were doing some real estate strategy work for them. And so I've mapped out some critical corridors, some critical stakeholders, schools, catchment areas, things that are important when you're mapping out a real estate strategy. So all of my layers that I'm going to present is in this one map. And so when I went through the process of um, selecting my template, and then creating my sections, I used one map. So I would go here and I would select the map that I want, and then I would choose, then I would search my map. So it's my Cottage Grove connections. That's the map that I'm using for my main stage, to set my stage. And so in my map, this is the home view, this area, this campus of Chicago. But maybe I don't want that to be the home view of my map that I'm here. So this is where you can make lots of changes. So for instance, I've chosen the map that I want, but maybe I don't want to use the map's default. Maybe I want to use, as far as location of the main stage, maybe I want to zoom into an area. So maybe this is, where you have an opportunity to change the map extent. So I've selected my map, and at the introduction, it's because it's using the default extent of my web map that is feeding this application. I'm going to change it. So I'm going to set this as my landing page. this is going to describe my overall study area. And my study area is a certain distance from this major intersection. And so I've zoomed out a little bit to the extent that I want to start in, and then I save my map location. I can also change what content is displayed here. So I'm going to change, instead of using the default, so whatever is currently on in my map right now, that's what's being displayed in my story map. And so I'm going to change that. So I'm going to change it to here. All I really want to do is show the medical campus, University of Chicago campus. I don't want to get into the school yet, and I really just want to show the corridors. And actually, I want to show, maybe I want to show campus and yes, my corridors, and yes, my walking distance to the center of my corridors. And oh, that's the park. Okay, so save my map. And then do I want a pop-up to come up as for the user when they look at this first section? And so if I want a pop-up to come up, I'm just going to choose the UC campus as my pop-up. So save my pop-up. Done. And I think the section is done. And here is where I add a project introduction. So here we go. So perhaps this is zooming into Chinatown, or maybe zoomed out enough so that we can see all of Philadelphia, and Chinatown is highlighted and a pop-up window is up and we can see this is Chinatown. And so you would then, to add another section to this presentation, you would think about what is the text that I want to add, what are the charts and graphics that I want to add to support my points that I'm making in this text, and what layers do I want to change in my map to turn that so that the map is the map is just changing layers, and we're not looking at different maps. So anyway, that's my favorite way of creating a story map. If you have any questions, it's really super easy to edit a story map. Once you get to the right place to actually begin a template, so once you get to this home page and you choose your template, and as long as your map has all the layers that you need, this part is really easy. In each section, again, to add a section, you add a new section, you create the title. So maybe this is demographics, section or whatever. The map stays the same. You can again change the extent to something differently if you want. If you want to use the different pop-ups, different layers, and you just make all of those edits here. If you want to add an image, you can add image. So that's it. So if you have any questions, let me know. Good luck with your updates.